Hi everyone, I'm Asha, an Akashic Records reader, blogger, and podcaster. In this series, we will demystify the Akashic Records by bringing to you bite-sized contents on frequently asked questions relating to the Akashic Records. We will also explore topics relating to spirituality, as well as practical application, learnings, and reflections in the Akashic Records. My Akashic Masters are very excited to join us in this journey. We send much love, light, and blessings to all. Welcome to Season 2, Episode 7, Part 2 of an Akashic Light reading and healing session with Jane. This is the second part series of the Akashic Light reading and healing session, and we are focusing on Jane's third query now. On Jane's third query, she asked, "This year, I met another man who was very aggressive in going after me. I really feel the spiritual connection to him. I have never felt like this before in my life. Like my relationship with men has not been good. I'm always the giving role. But for the first time in my life, I have somebody behind me who can support me spiritually, mentally, and also practically. This whole thing is very draining, confusing, and overwhelming for me. What is this guy's role in my life? Whether I should pursue this, observe this, or close this off so that I can move on and I know what to do. What they are allowing me to sense is a very uneasy feeling in the heart. It is like a very conflicted feeling because in truth, you guys did share certain past lives together. So on a soul level, there is a level of remembrance. But in the past life itself, it is also a very conflicted dynamic. Things may not be as rosy as it appears on the surface. As parties become more honest and truthful about their feelings and intentions, then we realize that things may not be as it is on the superficial level or on face value. There is more intention that this man has over you that may not be spoken as of now. So the advice is to observe and try to take yourself a little gently out of the situation first. They are not saying cut everything and just run away, but they want you to have this opportunity to try to take yourself emotionally out a little and to just watch this like a neutral observer, like an acquaintance, and see for yourself if he can indeed keep up with the fairy tale that he is trying to portray or convince you to believe, which may not exactly match with the real intentions from within. So what they want you to uncover is the real intention, because they want you to see for yourself that is the real intention. Am I prepared to accept or not? Rather than to be caught up in this fairy tale portrayed by this guy with some half-truths, some truths, some untruths, which we don't really know. And then, as we get caught up in this dynamic, we realize the reality is that there are a lot of assumptions, wrong understanding about each other. rather than to go in and regret. Give ourselves the time. So that means taking ourselves out emotionally from the situation, and just like a friend, like an acquaintance, to see how things unfold. It is not exactly untrue that you had shared past lives together, but that's also the case as with your father, your husband in your life. So it is like an intricate network that you have found yourself in. Along the journey, you will have soul connections. They remind that your supportive friendships are the result and accumulation of all your positive karma, of giving so selflessly to these persons in past lives that they may not have remembered. And you, being that kind person that you are today, then becomes a beacon of light for soul remembrance. It is like you become a lighthouse and then drawing all these positive connections to you in the form of friendships. But when it comes to romantic relationships, there is a deeper lesson that you need to uncover and truly internalize for yourself. That power to speak up and stand up for yourself. Speak up and stand up for all the injustice that you have taken on, that you have suffered. And that is not just a mental construct, but that really has to sit in so deeply within that one day you're able to realize how powerful and courageous you are. There is no need to suppress anything. You can just share it out. And it is not to harm anyone, but sharing it in such a loving, compassionate, and at times, if it is not meant to be loving and compassionate, then with an absolutely honest conviction that you are speaking the truth for yourself. It is almost as if you become a representative of all your inner children who have taken on so much for everybody, that you are standing in front of them and saying that I'm going to protect you and I'm going to speak up on your behalf because I'm sick and tired of suppressing everything all these years and having to deal with all this ruminating within without end. As you work on anchoring in peace, as you do all your journaling and reflections, you are even rebalancing that relationship with yourself, how you treat yourself, how you care for yourself, how you love yourself, how you allow others to treat you. Within you is an eternal fountain of love that is dormant, but it is something that you can reconnect with slowly and gradually, and realize for yourself how this eternal fountain of divine love, we can work on it in meditation, how it feels like and starts feeling like, pouring it to all your parts of your body, all your inner children. It is not just a visualization, a mental construct, but it is something very real and tangible. It is almost like once you unlock the key to accessing divine love, a higher form of love from within you through your unseen friends, you go around in a container filled with love, then it rebalances everything. There is no longer the need to wonder and be unhappy about why others are not treating us in a certain way or not loving us. The reality is that yes, they are mistreating us. But then, what can we do to help ourselves in this situation? I don't like to feel this way. How can I help myself to feel better? So that power to take ownership over our feelings, that we no longer subject our feelings to the mercy of other people's opinions, expectations, and mistreatment, that we are sick and tired of it, so we are taking back all this power, and truly that nobody then has a hold over our emotions. The summary is the advice that you watch the situation as a neutral observer. Try not to be too emotionally attached as you observe this whole dynamic, and just observe his version of story and how it accumulates over time, and observe his treatment of other people in life, observing like even people of all levels that enter into his life. How does he treat them? Because how he treats all other people in daily life is going to be a reflection. If one day you do decide on a long-term commitment with him, of his hidden side, all coming out in full view. The other thing is that because you have this scar or wounding on the masculine figures in your life, that is why everything then stems from that family karma, that relationship with your dad, that first male figure in your life. Once you rebalance that, it will have this spill over to relationship with this husband, even this guy, and other male colleagues or friends who share certain traits that remind you of your dad. Jane shared that she was looking for more specific answers, but at this time, it might be premature. Jane shared that this guy is moving overseas. She also shared how the guy made her feel loved unconditionally, and that is something she really enjoys, which is why she wanted to explore this despite her circumstances. The masters want to say, at this moment, they don't see any right or wrong. They are not trying to cast any negative judgment, but they are trying to see that you as a soul has many pathways and many choices that you can exercise. What they are trying to help is to allow you to make the best informed decision in your circumstances, with as many veils removed as possible, so that by the time you're ready to make a decision is with all veils removed, and then you decide, okay, I want this, I want to move on with this, I like this. They respect that soul's choice made at every moment. Therefore, because of how flexible your pathways can be, they are not here to hold a verdict of you should be doing this, you should be doing that, you shouldn't. On being the neutral observer, even the point that he's going overseas, that creates that space for you. Indeed, that physical space. And then that emotional space. Why is that emotional space important? It is not just to him, but even to your husband and father, because that allows you to discover yourself. That allows you to truly fill in on what is lacking within, what you feel is lacking within, what is unhealed within, and what is being suppressed within. When that happens, with more truths and more understanding of this is the current situation, these are my baggage, then it allows that gentle process of healing to start taking place for you. It is almost like you're at this process where you're starting to lift the things under the carpet and taking stock of it. But it feels quite scary to do that, because as you open, it is like, oh my God, what's all this? Therefore, karma healing will allow that process to unfold for you in the best timeline possible, so that you can just deal with the biggest objects first. Once they're out, the smaller things will start to dissipate and unlock itself. Even for this 6 to 12 months timeline, that relationship with the father will then spill over to relationship with your husband and relationship with this potential partner. So they are seeing it this way, because this whole process will allow you to rebalance relationship with male figures in your life. Not just that, it also rebalances your relationship with yourself. Then at that stage, you will have a much clearer and better understanding of what you truly want and desire for yourself in a partner. Then at that stage, they support you for your decision made. On Jane's fourth query, she asked, how can I be a better mother to my children? They say that on your own, you are a very nurturing person, physically, emotionally, mentally to them, as a good role model to them in their lives. You inspire them, you uplift them in the ways that even the father couldn't. And they applaud you for your efforts. Because it is not easy, considering the mess and the circumstances that you're right smack in right now. That you're almost like holding the fort for yourself and your whole family all alone. And that is a lot of burden that is weighing down your shoulders. How then can you excel even better at the role that you have already outperformed yourself, your limitations? They bring back the point of anchoring in peace in your life. Having all these light anchors in your timetable amidst your busy schedule. Time to just sit down in silence for 15 minutes doing a breathing meditation, time for journaling, time to even go for a spa, to slot in some care time for yourself. Almost like trying to find these rituals in your daily life, where you can remind yourself of how loved and precious you are. Even pasting things in the mirror that I love you, you're so loved, have a beautiful day. The first thing that you see as you wake up, as you look in the mirror. that you remind yourself all these things. It means everything. Starting the day on the right foot, looking at the mirror, and you see all these good things that you want to say for yourself, that you believe in yourself. When you bathe, purging out other people's energies and emotions that we've taken on. And then having that personal time for meditation is so important. Having 15 to 30 minutes to yourself, just sitting in silence, listening to guided meditation, or maybe listening to an Akashic Records meditation, or even this meditation that we may have later. That will uplift you over time. As you rebalance your relationship with yourself, you will start rebalancing every relationship in your life. As you go about healing the most wounded relationship in your life, can you imagine that positive spillover that you have in upgrading all the loving relationships that you have in your life? Even more loving, even more peaceful, even more harmonious. And then already being a good role model, an even better role model. Because now you have accrued even more wisdom through your own self-realizations, through your own healing about yourself. So the summary is that as you unravel your baggage within so fearlessly, then you will truly be able to shine an even brighter light to your children. On the fifth query, Jane asked, "Is there anything I should look out for in my business?" The key word that is coming in is that clear-headedness that you need at this moment, that may not exactly be in its fullest potential. Because right now, it is like a very confusing reality for you. You're not really sure of the situation you're in. And if you bring this confused self to the business, it is very hard to make long-term, high-value decisions for the business that will take it to the right direction and generate the most profits. So right now, at least to them, that business decision-making is not the most pressing issue on your priority list. Working on yourself is that priority list. Because then, as you anchor in peace, that level of clear-headedness will come. Then that inspiration, that creativity will start flowing for you. Now may not be a good decision time for you to make long-term decisions for your business. But when you're in a good space, then things start to flow. That's when you feel so inspired, so guided. Then you will have that answer on the next steps to take that business even further forward. Next, we went on to the healing segment for the session. Jane wanted the healing to focus on healing her emotional self and her conflict with her family. We went through a guided meditation where we called upon Jane's Akashic Masters, Angelic Team, Galactic Team, Dragon Team, Angels of Love, Lady Nada, Archangel Shamuel, Lords of Karma, and Higher Self. We allowed the light to flow into Jane's physical body and energy bodies. We allowed the dragon team to remove certain deeply lodged and embedded discordant energies and emotions, trauma from past lives that were lodged in Jane's spine, allowing all this to leave through the base of her spine. We welcome in the dragon's breath of fire to go around Jane's auric fields, clearing out other people's expectations, dense and discordant energies and emotions, gently removing all cords that no longer served Jane, that were projected by others onto her, or those that she had taken on unknowingly or knowingly, that were not in her highest good to keep. As the cleansing took place, it created more space within. We invited the lords of karma to clear dense and discordant energies and emotions and unhealthy cords that Jane may have in her relationship with her father and other family members in her life. We invited the lords of karma to remove any hooks, attachments, energy imprints, karmic imprints that were not to Jane's highest good to keep in these relationships. We called upon Jane's higher self to call back all her personal power, energy, soul parts, soul aspects, and soul fragments that she may have given away or lost or left behind in these relationships with her dad and other family members in this lifetime and all past lives, timelines, and realities to return to her now. We called in the lords of karma to clear all memories, remnants of dense and discordant energies, emotions, and imprints related to these relationships that were hanging around in Jane's energy fields. We commanded for this to be released and purged to the fullest extent possible. We called in the violet flame to run through Jane's energy bodies 7 times, burning away all remnants of cords that were cut away, and facilitating an even deeper purging of all dense and discordant energies and emotions. We welcome in the fire dragons to come close to Jane, allowing her to feel into and embody these energies, the energies of passion, courage, and empowerment. As the fire dragons danced around Jane's energy fields, they sent the breath of fire to Jane's brain, freeing her up from other people's expectations and also burning away those weeds that were hanging at the back of her head, other people's beliefs, opinions, expectations, assumptions. They also sent the breath of fire to her eyes, gently lifting some veils that others may have placed over her. They're here to facilitate Jane's return of her true power, and it is her soul's remembrance and entitlement. We allow the fire dragons to place activating energies in Jane's solar plexus and womb areas, where these seeds would blossom and ripen in its divine timing, the seeds of courage, of empowerment. We welcome in Lady Nada and Archangel Shamuel to radiate the loving frequencies to Jane. As they sent the loving frequencies to her heart space, healing so gently and so tenderly each chamber of her heart with the seeds and energies of divine love. The divine love frequencies flowed down to Jane's solar plexus area, where some of her inner children were at, sending some loving frequencies to them and holding them with so much safety, love, and protection. The divine love frequencies then flowed down to the lower part of the body and then the upper part of the body. Lastly, we invited Jane's team to shower blessings her way, blessing her path ahead to unfold with so much clarity, divine ease, and grace. Thank you for tuning in to this podcast. If you would like to read about my dialogues and reflections with the Akashic Masters, you can visit my free blog at Asha-AkashicRecords.com. Till next time, take care.